Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of Football Focus with Ben and Dan. I'm Ben alongside my colleague as always,
Ben.
And don't forget to like us, subscribe to us, tweet us, email us. All that's going to be in the comment section below. Tonight we are going to talk about 5 handcuffs you got to have in fantasy football, and I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into this.
Sounds good to me.
Our number 5 guy, Lance Dunbar, running back, Dallas Cowboys. You know, he's a guy that has kind of been a back. He's been around a couple of years. He's from North Texas. He's a guy that when DeMarco Murray inevitably goes down at some point this season, he's a guy that I think will step up into that role. He's been successful in very short stints, although he sometimes can't stay healthy. Not too worried about Joseph Randle really stepping in there, but he's a guy that I feel pretty good about this season being the handcuff to DeMarco Murray.
Oh, I do too. And just so you guys remember, a fantasy handcuff is a guy that you need to draft in the later rounds to back up one of your core running backs that you draft in those first couple of rounds. As everyone knows, DeMarco Murray is going to be a real early draft pick this year, and he is injury prone, so you don't want to hinge your fantasy season without a backup option. Lance Dunbar will be that option. He looked pretty good in fill-in work last year, as Ben said. A very important guy to have if you land DeMarco as your RB1.
Definitely.
Second guy we want to talk about, the guy that's been around the league a few years, LeGarrette Blount, running back, now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everyone got to watch him last year with New England. He really put on a show in the playoffs, especially against the Colts when he ran for 4 touchdowns. I don't expect him to do that on a regular basis, as he will be backing up the young and studly Le'Veon Bell. But Le'Veon Bell, like DeMarco Murray, may inevitably go down. He has an injury history, as you saw when he missed 4 games last year, and he also had injuries in college. Le'Veon's going to be another guy that goes in the first couple of rounds. If you end up getting him as your RB1 or high RB2, you're going to want to snag LeGarrette Blount once those bench picks start coming up. Should Bell go down, I expect Blount to put up fine numbers as a replacement fill-in.
Well, like you said, LeGarrette Blount has been a solid guy when he's gotten the opportunity. Kind of got a bad rap coming out of college. Could have been a starter, was talented enough to be a full-time starter, but just has had some issues since coming to the NFL. But he's a guy that's averaged almost 5 yards a clip per carry average in his career, so he's another good guy to look at and could end up really helping your fantasy team should Le'Veon Bell go down. Another guy we've got is Andre Brown, Houston Texans backup running back. Arian Foster can't really stay healthy anymore at this point. We've talked about him in our shows before, but Andre Brown is a guy that when he's healthy, he can be pretty stuffly. In 2012, he had 73 carries, 8 of those were touchdowns. So he's a guy that can find the end zone. Of course, some of those were goal line punches, but his yards per carry average isn't bad either. Andre Brown's another guy you gotta have. I
agree. For a year or two, the Texans actually averaged the highest amount of rushing touchdowns in the red zone of any team in the NFL. A lot of those from short yard situations. Even if you don't get Brown as a handcuff, he's going to be a good option as a goal line stealer, if nothing else on those bye weeks, but definitely as a handcuff. You don't want to get Arian Foster and miss Andre Brown. That can end up devastating you come playoff time in fantasy football. Our number 2 guy, one of my personal favorites, is Kadeem Carey, rookie running back for the Chicago Bears. Kadeem Carey was a stud in college. He's my favorite running back this year in the draft. Didn't go so high because he isn't as fast as some of the others, and he has durability questions as he runs really open and doesn't have a very large frame. But he actually leads the Pac-12 all-time as a rusher. He had one of the best seasons as a college running back in 2012. He averaged over 6 yards a carry and had over 1,900 yards. That's crazy, and he nearly repeated the effort in 13 when he had 1,885 yards. This guy's really good, and Matt Forte is his studly runner. Matt Forte is going to be a top 5 pick, almost guaranteed. If you get him, you've got to get Carey once those bench picks start coming.
Well, I'm not as high on him as you are, but obviously whoever is backing up Matt Forte, and it will be Carey this season, you got to have that person. Matt Forte has had injury issues in the past, and Carey, while he didn't have just the most impressive combine on the planet, you know what, that was not a career make of a running back, and he's going to be a guy that if Forte goes down, they're going to really look to him to kind of carry the team on the running side of the ball there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, our number 1 and most important fantasy handcuff is going to be a guy that we're very familiar with. It's Niall Davis, the running back from the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, he's a homeboy for us. He's from Arkansas. Arkansas. We love you, Niall. Hope you're watching the show. He's another guy that, Jamal Charles, we look at him and we see a guy that he's never played a full 16-game slate, even though they sat him a couple of seasons when he was healthy. He's still never played 16 games. Niall Davis came in week 17 of last year, had a good game, had a couple touchdowns. He was good all throughout the year. And he's a guy that even if he's not playing a whole lot, he can be dangerous with the kick returns to touchdown. He had a big return last year. Niall Davis is a fantasy handcuff that could turn out to be one of the best handcuffs, as we have him ranked number 1 here. But he is a guy, he's going to put up numbers if given an opportunity to play.
Oh yeah, and Jamal is going to be a top 3 pick, so you've got to get your backup for him. If he goes down, that could ruin your season. Niall's the kind of guy that can save a season, though, if Jamal does go down. I actually had Jamal and Niall last year. The reference been made to week 17. Niall was actually in my starting lineup. Fortunately, I played my championship last year, lost to Ben by 9 points. But Niall gave me a heck of a run, and he'll give you guys a heck of a run too if you get him. Even if I don't get Jamal, I'll be looking at him late in the draft. But if I do get Jamal, he'll be one of my first bench picks. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for our fantasy handcuffs. Make sure to get them. As far as we go, make sure to like us, subscribe to us, tweet us, email us. Our email is footballfocusbenanddan@gmail.com. My Twitter handle is FFBDdan.
Mine is at FFBDBen.
Oh yeah, and you can find that below in the comment section if you didn't catch it from us. We'll be reading your questions and comments live soon on the show. As always, guys, thanks for joining us. Have a great evening.